think I'm supposed to be in here too. What's up, ballers? Jacob here with AllDriveNoDrop, talking about the best power paddles on the market, because that's what everyone wants to talk about. So let's get into it. Okay, the most common question I've been getting lately is about power paddles. Which power paddle should I get? Should I get this one? Should I get this one? Should I get this one? I'm on the courts, the DMs, the comments. That's the question I'm getting asked the most. So I had to make a video. I kept trying to make a power paddle video, but more power paddles kept coming out. And I'm like, all right, just got to do it at some point. So here we are, we're doing it. Maybe there's an updated version later, but there's so many out right now. Now's a good time. Also, courtesy of Just Paddles, giving away a Perseus mod TA15. So subscribe right now, get yourself out of the way in case you don't want to miss any other reviews, giveaways, other videos. More to come at the end of this video if you want to stick around and win this paddle. I'm going to break this down by different categories. These are my top power paddles that are on the market. I'm going to get into it right now, and then I'll tell you my weight setups, if I have any weight setups for them, and what I recommend. So let's jump into my first paddle, which is the most power that I've recorded. Let's go. Gearbox Pro Power, that's right. I think it's the first paddle to come out on this list. This is the oldest of them, and it still is topping the charts. Some people might have the mod as a higher power. They're very close in pop and power. This one just edges it out for me. I think the design is better just because it's longer lasting than the mod. And it does have a smaller sweet spot, but the top end power, the top end pop is what you get with this paddle. It does have that smaller sweet spot than pretty much everything on this list. Maybe a similar sweet spot to some of the Bantams, but smaller than everything on this list. So it does take time to master. The resets are more difficult. It does have twisting at the stock weight. I definitely recommend adding weight to this. I played with it at 3 grams right here, starting at the bottom corner, going up however long your strip is going to take you to get to 3 grams starting from here. And then I also wrap it with electrical tape all the way around. Gives it a little bit more stability on the top. Doesn't add too much weight, but adds enough for, you know, not that it needs more power, but adds a little extra power. But mostly that is for the stability. And of course it is an edgeless, so helps getting that out. At $275, this paddle is very pricey, but it does have the performance that is only matched by other expensive paddles. So it's just kind of what you need to pay for to get that top end power and the tech that no one else has replicated in this paddle. It is a little bit jarring on the miss hits, you know, so if you do not like that stiff vibration impact on off-center shots, this isn't going to be it for you. If you are okay with that, you like that feedback, this is what it is. It does get good spin, but it doesn't get that elite spin. So just keep that in mind as well. Don't get any discounts on this paddle, but if you do use my link and code, it does help support the channel. But that's all. That's my most powerful paddle on the list. If you just only care about that top end power and pop, or if you really want a power paddle to main, this is a good option. It's just one I recommend for probably 4.5 and above players. But I see all kinds of people using this paddle. It just takes time to master. So if you want to put in the time for one of the top end power paddles, this would be it. Let's jump into the next one on my list. Okay, the Ronbus Ripple R1 14 millimeter. This is going to be what I'm going to call a fan favorite. It's not officially out yet. If you're watching this video right now in September, it's not out yet, only for Ronbus Connect members, but it will be coming out Octoberish 2024. So just early thoughts. One, it's called the Ripple. You can feel the ribs or the ripples in this paddle when you rub against it. And that's just those foam ripples, basically. Kind of plays similar to the mod TA a little bit. You do get a ton of power, ton of pop on this paddle. And one thing that it differs from the mod TA is you get that lower swing weight. The stock swing weight comes in at 107, super low for an elongated, right? You get a ton of spin with this. You get a ton of power. Your serves and your drives are going to be amazing. Low twist weight, has some stability issues. I remedied this. This is a 0.5 gram per inch strip of tungsten tape from Bodhi. Started at the bottom corner, went all the way up a little bit past the top corner. This paddle is so light, I'm like, I'm just gonna add more weight to it. Not that it needs the power, but I really wanted some extra stability. And I mean, the weight actually adds more power too. So that's great. This is a very fun paddle. I really enjoy this. Like if I were personally making a choice between the Gearbox, the mod, and this, so we're going with that top end power, I would choose the Ripple out of those three for myself. But I know some people will like the other ones for, you know, different reasons. I just think this has a great sweet spot, especially with the weight setup. Super maneuverable. One of the lowest swing weight paddles on this list. So if that's really important to you, you want the low swing weight, you want a 14 millimeter, and you want that power and pop combo. I mean, it's just a great choice. Handle, you know, obviously, I think all the handles on this list great for two-handed backhand, so don't worry about that. Design, you know, don't mind the design. I like it. It's, you know, it's base. It's not too out there, but it's elegant, I would say. So yeah, Ronbus Ripple. So you do have the R2 shape in the wide body, which a ton of people are going to want because I know a lot of people love the Scorpius Gen 3. The R2 shape of this is going to be very popular. Hold on. So we got the R2 shape here. This one is also 14 millimeters, and this one is more controllable than the R1. A little bit less power, but honestly, if I was going to choose between these two, I would do the R2. Personally, just it's been easier to control. The R1, I've been having some issues sailing drives and just like kind of keeping the ball in with it because it has so much power. The weight helped a lot, but I just have had a better time with the R2, so that is personally my favorite of the Ripples. That's just my first thoughts. We'll have a full review on that. If you're already watching this by like October, the review will be out. But that's my initial thoughts on these Ripples. I think they're going to be a fan favorite. Let's move on to the next one. So the Spartus Olympus is my personal favorite power paddle that I've tried and is currently in the rotation of my main paddles when I am looking to play with a power paddle. Now, stock, it doesn't have as much power as the Paddleteks, the Ronbus Ripples, the Mod TA, and the Gearbox Pro Power. Comes in at a super low swing weight for a hybrid paddle. At 110 is the average. So you get that low swing weight, but you get the great power to come with it. And it has great pop, but the pop isn't as much as all those other paddles on the list, which personally I really enjoy because it has enough pop on its own that even if you got a strong counterpunch, it still lights out. But when you're going for those resets, you're really trying to soften up the paddle, you can really soften this up, and that's what I really enjoy. And I've also haven't heard of any core crushing issues for this paddle, and I've used the Olympus a ton. My main Olympus, I've put over 60 hours on now, and I've really pressed it, and it has not broke on me, and it still feels great. One of the better feeling 14 millimeters too. Some people don't like a jarring feeling on their 14 millimeter or just feels too stiff. No problem with this. It's not like the softest paddle, but really doesn't affect me. Sometimes I do have some pickleball elbow, and this one gives me no issues. Also, with my weight setup, I go from a little bit here, so this bottom corner, and I go all the way up to just around the curve of the top of this corner. So I try to get about 4.5 grams total on there using the 0.5 per gram strip from Bodhi for the tungsten tape. And I really enjoy that. It adds a good amount of power. I've tried the 1 gram per inch strip too, so I put like 9 grams on each side, and that's really good too if you're looking to add the power. And so you bring that swing weight, when you do that 4.5 gram, you bring that swing weight up to like 117, so you still have a super maneuverable paddle, so that power level becomes equivalent. and a little bit higher than the Paddletek Bantams at that point, and you're kind of matching the swing weight of those, and that's when it's fully unlocked and really becomes my personal favorite power paddle on the list. Just a very enjoyable paddle. And then you have the price at $180 with the code AllDriveNoDrop, which makes it way cheaper than all those top-end power paddles. And the only hybrid on this list, besides the J2H, but doesn't really compete with the power and pop that this paddle has. So that's why it's my personal favorite. The price point, the playability, the feeling, and I mean, it looks good too, never hurts. So my personal favorite, but if you are looking for that top end power out of the elongateds, you're gonna go with one of the other ones. But if you want it in a hybrid shape, you want the ability to customize your paddle, then I'm going to choose the Spartus Olympus. This is my most controversial power paddle because you had the Gen 3 fiascos with the Joolas. When this paddle's costing $280, various prices with all the local ambassadors, whatever, you can get this at Just Paddles using my link if you would like to. But basically, we've had a lot of core crushing issues with the Gen 3s. This has proven to be identical to the Gen 3 former Perseus. So the main difference is the grit is a little less on this one. I think that really is the only difference. We may never know officially from USAP. But besides that, let me get that out of the way. Make sure you get the warranty on this paddle. Make sure your warranty's up to date. Joola seems to be taking care of the warranties better these days. This paddle has been known to core crush quite a bit. I have the most worries about the durability and longevity of this paddle of any of the other paddles on the list, but a lot of people love this. It has a great power level, great pop level. It is controllable. It can play softer than some of the other paddles on this list. Like if you compare it to the Gearbox, it has a bigger sweet spot. It's easier to play the soft game with it, easier to control. For me, I found that having this, you have that diving board effect where the farther along the paddle you go, the more power it produces. For me and my game, that's what I don't really enjoy. I want it more consistent in that sweet spot, not like having a different power level. It really messes up my ground strokes, but I just can't ignore that a lot of people love it, and I understand why. It does have a ton of power and pop that you don't need to generate yourself. For some, it's going to get more power than the Gearbox Pro Power. And so for that reason, I have to include it on the list because so many people enjoy it. It does have good tech if it didn't break, and for some it hasn't broke. But just remember, get that warranty. Make sure you're taken care of if you do get that core crushing. And you check that by pressing in. You'll hear a crinkling. This one's not core crushed. This is brand new. But just keep that in mind for the future if you are going to get the mod TA. But my most controversial power paddle, a very good power paddle, but it does come with some flaws. Gets amazing spin as well. Even without that grit, ball really dwells on this, gets elite spin. So let's jump into my next paddle. So my category of how do they do this is the Paddletek Bantams, the TKOs, and the Anna Lee Waters-C. So these are Gen 1 construction, not thermoform, no foam. So how do they get so powerful? One thing I do want to note is these are stiffer paddles. You will feel more vibration, especially off center. They have smaller sweet spots. They all benefit from adding weight. I think you need to add weight to everything in the series. So the 12.7-C, one of my favorites of this series, actually my personal favorite. Very nice. A lot of power, a lot of pop. Pretty controllable for a 12.7 millimeter paddle. I added weight, just 3 grams from this bottom corner to right here. On these elongateds, I think that is the best place. Unless they're super low swing weight like the Ripple, then I'll add more. For this, I like the setup. The sweet spot is a little smaller. I've had people play with it stock and they definitely complained about the sweet spot. But I think that these, with the great spin that they get, I think these are some of the more controllable, paddles, if you don't want that top end power and pop like the Ripple, the Mod, the Gearbox, I think these are a little step below, but still very powerful and more controllable and just more consistent with their power. So if you want that, I would recommend the Paddleteks. Also, the Paddletek Lee -C, this one is the 14.3, is one of the few wide body paddles, wide body power paddles. Right now you have this and you have the Ripple coming. I think that right now, if you wanted to get this, it's going to have a ton of pop, and also it has a shorter handle. So this is the 5-inch handle. So they've updated the Lee water paddles, the 12.7 and the 14.3, to have a 5.25-inch handle, and that extra 0.25 inches gives enough room for two-handed backhands. This one I could still do it. It was a little tight, but the new updated version I think is going to fit more people. And as addition, they're going to come out with the ESQ version, which is going to have either a 5.5 or 5.75 inch handle. We'll see. It's not officially out. So for me, I had people asking too to show how I set up the weights. And a lot of people have been asking, okay, what if I only have pre-cut strips? So I have these enhanced Pickleball pre-cut strips, which I really enjoy. Very easy to use. I believe it's like tungsten and silicone combination, so not lead. If you have pre-cut strips and you're looking to do your wide body paddles, this is the only shape that I use this setup on. I will put the 3 grams in the middle on the side, and then I'll put it right at the top, and then I'll put another one up. So one on each side in the middle and one on the top for a total of 9 grams. This already comes in at a super low swing weight. So if you're using another wide body that would be, you know, heavier or higher swing weight stock, you might want to cut these strips in half or, you know, adjust accordingly. But for this, adding this weight setup, paddle already hits hard, hits even harder when you add this weight, and still is super maneuverable in your hands. Very fun. The Paddletek Bantam series, just a fun series of paddles, and I can't complain. Best under 100 J2H for my power paddle. It's not going to get as much power as all the other paddles on this list, but if you're looking for something that has a lot of stability, a lot more control than all these paddles, but you're still looking for that power boost and you want to go under 100, this J2H will get the job done. It has the fiberglass layer underneath the carbon fiber, and it hits pretty hard. Not like I said, not as hard as the other ones, but if you're just looking for the, you know, best power all-court paddle under 100, this is going to be it. I really enjoy playing with this paddle. I'm going to add from this bottom corner up to this top corner, 0.5 gram per inch strips. So from the bottom to the top, that's what I recommend. Still okay if you want to do a heavier strip right here from the bottom to the middle of the corner. It doesn't need it. You don't have to, but I personally enjoy adding it there. That's what the weight setup I would try. So under 100 from Honolulu, very good job. Very good underrated paddle. I don't think I've seen really many people talking about this paddle. So if you're looking to stay on the budget side, check out the J2H. Okay, so those are my best power paddles of 2024 right now. If you're looking to get a power paddle, those are the ones I recommend. Depending on what you want, I hope this list helps you choose which one you want. All my discounts and codes are in the bottom. Go ahead and click those descriptions. Everything helps support the channel, so I appreciate you using them. So a lot of great options. Where are we going to cap the power? That's kind of the question. I think that if we cap the power at where the Mod and the Gearbox Pro Power are, I think we'll be okay. We definitely don't want to go higher than those, in my opinion. I just think at some point you do have to cap that power. If the paddles got too powerful, we're just not playing the game anymore. If you're looking for a power paddle, these are the ones I would be looking at. If I missed your favorite power paddle, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what your experience has been with any of these power paddles on the list and what you've preferred. And let me know where you'd want to cap the power. Do you want to cap it at maybe like the Bantam? Do you want to cap it at what we have now, the Gearbox Pro Power and the Joola Mod TA? Let me know what you'd cap it at. And like to see the discussion in the comments. If you want to customize your paddle with the tungsten tape I use, go check out the Bodhi, link in the description for 15% off. Have a great success using that. Now, if you want to enter the giveaway and you want to win the new mod TA, follow the instructions on the screen. Appreciate Just Paddles for supplying the mod. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Always happy to answer good questions. As always, thank you for watching, and go play some pickleball.